Oh, good afternoon. Good morning, Ryan. Good to see you. Hi, Brett. Hope your mountain biking went well, Ryan. Good to see you again, Brett. Najam, good morning. Oh, that's good. Well done. Good man. Good afternoon, Carolyn. Good to see you. Thanks for the tip, Ryan. Here we are again. A bit cleaner today, so should be. I'm hoping for a better day. Tricky yesterday. Let's get stuck into the session. So, looking around European equity markets, what we're seeing is that equity futures are opening positive. Markets are still digesting the EU US trade deal. There isn't much progress on China trade deal, and the dollar strength that we saw come in yesterday, that we were expecting, with the GDP expected to be revised higher, JOLTS jobs strong, the Fed meeting and the latest jobs data being strong. A bit of a pullback in the dollar made sense, and we were looking yesterday for euro dollar sort of flag pattern pullback. We didn't get it in the end, but you can see that dollar strength has just been sort of relentless. I'd expect that to carry on during this session. However, just note this important economic data point, which is the 7-year bond auction that's taking place. So if there is a very weak auction and investors aren't looking for that, you could see a bit of a pullback in that recent dollar strength. But just keep an eye on the 7-year bond auctions getting a little bit of focus. 5-year bond auction was yesterday, and this is in a little bit of focus today, just to be aware of that. Also got JOLTS jobs coming up. Looking at the US jobs market, you can see, advertisers are still there. They're happily in the US economy to advertise jobs. It's a robust jobs market. If today we see this coming in well below market's minimum expectations, 7.25, I think we want to see it lower than that, really. Really something sort of clearing out these lows underneath 7.1 would show some kind of structural shift in the US jobs market. And if we did see that, then you'd expect a little bit of dollar weakness. Not much, but it would just increase expectations that the Fed there's an outside chance of an interest rate cut. At the moment, 96% chance of a hold. And that's just helping to drive dollar strength. And the whole bias is, the Fed's going to be higher for longer. That's more the way the market's going. So we're looking at jobs, could see some volatility from that later on in the session. Aside from that, it's a quiet calendar, really getting busy on the earnings front now. So there's quite a lot going on. We've had earnings coming in from Novo Nordisk getting a bit of headlines. They're down at market. Got Boeing orders in, United Health Group earnings in. Big names really coming tomorrow: Meta, Microsoft, Apple, Amazon. Remember, heavy weighting in the Nasdaq and heavy weighting in the S&P 500. So that's when markets are really going to be moving on earnings releases. The other thing to be aware of is the Aussie CPI print. Now, the best opportunity here is if this inflation data comes in higher than markets are expecting. So we'll look at the Aussie New Zealand dollar pair. So if we see a higher than expected print, so if it comes in above 2.9% for the trim mean, above 2.9% for the weighted median, above 2.4% for the weighted CPI, and we get this coming in at above 0.9%. If we see a beat, in other words, across the board for the CPI print, including the headline, we want to see that up at 2.4%. It just means the RBA is going to have to stay higher for longer, and it's harder for them to cut interest rates. That should support the Australian dollar against the New Zealand dollar. So just notice this Aussie New Zealand dollar sort of flag pattern we've got coming up. We've had a sharp move higher, so breakout above resistance. It's a clear attempt at breaking to the upside, and what you're looking for here is a break of that flag. And if you get an intra sort of candle break on the release and the CPI data is strong, then I could see that being a catalyst for another leg higher, and then the target would be there and then moving up. So just keep your eye on that. You've got the yield spread as well, Aussie 10-year, New Zealand 10-year, and you can see that that's sort of condensing. But if we see a higher than expected CPI print, then that should create opportunities in the Aussie New Zealand dollar. So that's what to look for overnight, stroke early tomorrow morning, okay, in terms of FX world. Now, looking at silver, got a good run of this weekly hammer reversal. So looking for a pullback here and then looking to buy on dips. So I'm still happy to buy into silver, but I want to see a sharp move lower and then ideally maybe a strong hammer reversal on the daily or the weekly chart, some price action signal around that 35 region, and a nice leg up. Still want to carry on with it, but I'm just looking for a pullback and then back in to silver. So that's what I'm looking at in terms of interest rates. Back to today, next major point is jobs. Now, looking at the hourly chart, see price breaking above yesterday's value area, last week's value area high, and we're just moving up into the developing value area high. So this is a market that's trying to find a balance, right? And it's trying to break out of this previous balance and push higher. You can see sellers have come in here and trapped those buyers. So you've got those buyers trapped on the 1 hour, but crucially, we're above this value area here, and we're looking to push above this value area high here. So what we're looking for here is some key support at this level. Now, looking on the 15-minute chart, you can see that price is consolidating above the value area high from yesterday and Friday. So we've pulled back. Looking at the delta is positive on the session, on the day rather, and then we're looking to see if sellers can get trapped down here, and then we can push higher and target those previous highs. Okay, so the target will be up to the 6441. See if we can get these sellers trapped, and then looking to build up long into this position. Now, let's just have a look. Now, if you look at the time price opportunity, you can see that we rejected the point of control from the early morning European session, rejected the value area high from yesterday, and we've pulled back down into the middle of the time price opportunity area. But on the market volume profile, in terms of where volume is, we're just above the previous value area high. So to go lower than this, we're going to really want to see these sort of buyers being cleared out down here, really. So buyers being cleared out there about 6431, looking for a move lower. Otherwise, we want to see these sellers cleared out at that 6436 area, and then looking to go long from that kind of environment. So that's what I'm looking for. The 5-minute chart, again, we're seeing some buyers coming in on that deep dip, some sellers there, some sellers here. So early warning signals if you've got some of those sellers trapped, and price can go above that 6436. That'll be an early warning signal. Otherwise, just be interesting to wait to see how price reacts over this level. And you can see that you got sellers, right, who got trapped there earlier in the session. We just move back to that area. So that's what's to look for. Obviously, if we can get above those highs, that would be great. You can see that more clearly on the TPO. If you can get back above this 6408, then we can start making a run up to the R1 zone. Looking at the S&P 500 just on the price chart, right, we can see it's got this nice upward trend line and sort of finding support around this sort of 6341, and you expect any deep dips to that ascending trend line to find support. So support would sit at around that 6350. All right, folks, just going to check if there's anything else. Metals, yeah, gold is continuing to be constrained by that strong dollar. Commodities are just down, which makes sense with the weak dollar. Pleased that I closed out my copper longs over there, but that sort of support level is still holding. But strong dollar weighing on commodities, apart from Brent crude and WTI. There's no particular news, OPEC news that I can see. Just going to turn the squawk on. So you continue to expect to find sellers in gold, but there is a bit of macro risk that can suddenly come in. So just got to be aware of that. At the moment, there's no particular new news with what's going on with China. Bond market is fairly contained for today. Bond auction later, the 7-year bond auction will be in focus. And you can see Dixie continue to push out and break over those swing points. So you got a breakdown of that support level taking place in the euro dollar as we speak, folks. So value area high here, looking to find sellers, getting trapped down that area. can see that the meantime, you can sellers here have been able to trap those buyers, but crucially, we're into that support level. So it's not suitable for shorting. We're looking for a break above this area to go long. Otherwise, if we can get underneath kind of this level here, ideally, if we can get underneath that sort of 6428 region, then we can look for a run back down towards this value area down here. So that's what I'm looking for. That will be from here breaking down to that area. So that's my outlook for the session. I'm not going to rush it, not going to force it. Just yesterday reflecting, just trying to force trades too much. Ended up the day flat, did a little bit of trading after the session, but it was just too forced. So just looking for the clear opportunities. Delta is at the moment positive, and we have this nice support area around this 6428 region. Also, the weekly point of control sits at the 6428. Remember that point of control, this is where the place that we've seen the most amount of volume being traded, right? So that 6428 is the most amount of volume that we've seen for the week. And below that, you've got the 6423, which is the most amount of volume being traded yesterday. And again, where all those trapped sellers are. So nice place for structural longs at the 28 and down at that 23 region. Right, go from balance to imbalance. Now, 15-minute close above 6436 will be all those sellers trapped. So if you just get sellers trapped on the 15, right, that's a buy in itself. So if we close above that 6435, 6436. So close above 6436 at the open, then I'm going to go long at the open. So above 6436, be long at the open. If sellers close underneath those buyers, then it's a sell bias, right? And you don't want to just enter in before the open because of the volatility you get at the open. That's when New York starts. It's the regular trading hours, and you get all the volatility that comes in, right? So here we go. Right, so I've just bought in as those buyers have taken out those sellers. If I get a confirmation, right, that's a confirmation. So that is a buy. So I bought in there with these buyers, right, trapping these sellers here.
And more from the German economy minister says cannot yet say exactly how much of planned $600 billion of EU investments in the US will fall to Germany.
Okay, so I'm in before the open, looking for this to sort of run higher. What's the evidence? I've got 5-minute trapped. I've got sellers trapped here. From above 6436 at the open, I'm going to enter another position. Right, 20 seconds. Right, I've opened a second one in because I think that's going to be okay. Right, so there we go. So if you look at the 15, you got those sellers trapped. So sellers trapped, standard deviation. Let's see if we can get up through there. Hit the highs of the day would not be an unreasonable target. Get above those, I can enter another position. I have another position in. Let's see if I can get up to those highs there. Let's see if we can get there. It's a nice area here. You've got the buyers who've trapped these sellers. So it's a fine place to look for longs. Just a natural little pullback. Back down to the VWAP. Delta is negative, but this is the area we expect to find buyers. Final position in. Let's see if we can just clear this out now. We've had buyers come in, trap those sellers. Aggressive buyers trying to come in, trying to push that delta higher. So in the 15, buyers, trap sellers. So this is a support area. Buyers coming in again against that VWAP. I do want to clear out those sellers there. That would be ideal. VWAP holding. Delta flat, but still negative. 5, buyers still there. No sellers trapped yet. No near-term sellers, so it's still pretty slow. I'd like to see this get cleared out quickly. Right, so that'll be a trigger for another entry, but I'm overly committed now, so don't want to commit anymore. That's nice. That's all them cleared out. Those sellers trapped now as well. You want to clear out that standard deviation. That's nice that you've cleared out these sellers here, so that's good. So if you get up above those sellers, then buyers will gain a bit more confidence, right? And you see, and your target is the highs of the day. As an attempt for them to come in, you see they came in a bit of volume there, 200 plus contracts. They tried it there. Right, let's see if they can commit a bit more. There we go. Right, that's good because you've got buyers trapping those sellers now. So now up to that standard deviation, and up above those 5 minutes would be great as well. So I'm gonna watch it carefully up here. So we come up to a 5-minute close. Can we Let's see where we can clear out. Anyone? Standard deviation capping price for now. Let's see. There we go. Right. Just lightening up here. Got another position. Going to keep one last position in.
Update from the BCB. They sell $1 billion in dollar auction with repurchase agreement.
I'm going to move that stop up just underneath this. If it goes back lower, I'm getting out. If we go back underneath this region, I'm out of that. Just taking too long at that level. I've got it running at break even on my other accounts. I've got a slightly better entry. Okay, that's it. So I'm out of that. It's that standard deviation just capping price too much. Now, I wouldn't necessarily say I'm against going back in. So you can see buyers here, right? They have trapped some sellers down at this level, but it's just, we're clearly rejecting that standard deviation, aren't we? Right? So we've had 2 tests of it now. So we give it a go. We didn't get a bad entry. Let's have a look at it again now.